Kumlen Ablat Gemara, we are up to the today's daf is at Pegimel. We're actually up to Pegimel on the base, so way ahead. We're up to the Mishnah. And remember that all the Mishnahs here are authored by Rabbi Yossi, and that what that means is that even though some of these vows would be treated by the Rabbanan as inui nefesh, which means self-harm, and that the husband can annul it for now and forevermore, Rabbi Yossi treats them as beinoi lebeino, but these are only affect their relationships only as long as they have a relationship. The neder falls off, and when they divorce, because the widow, the neder comes right back. And according to some, only if she if she divorced, only if she marries somebody else, if there's no longer potential for her to come back, it's considered the neder comes right, is resuscitated. Okay, so now, okay, Kumla and Ablat Gemara. I just realized my picture was off. So Kumla and Ablat Gemara, that Pegimel on the base. Says the Mishnah, Koinim. She says that I will answer on myself like a carbon. Remember, that's the first Mishnah in Nedarim. We learned that these are one of the words you use, Koinim. I don't have any benefit from anybody. And she uses the word brias. Brias means anybody. Just anybody, even people behave like animals. Anybody, just created, a created person. Any the husband cannot annul this neder. And she's saying that any benefit to have from anybody should be like a carbon, should be usher. The husband cannot annul it. Now the question is, why in the world can't the husband annul it? You can't have any hana. This is not only beinoi lebeino, this can be harmful as well. This can be anything. And yet we say here the husband cannot annul it. We'll soon see why. Then the Mishnah says, she can benefit like a poor person to get the corner of the leket, the shichapeh left behind in the field, or the corner of the field. Now, what's the Mishnah trying to say? Is that a reason why the husband cannot annul it? Because you have alternative options? We'll see in a minute. That's the first part of the Mishnah. The second part of the Mishnah is, what happens if koinim, levim, this doesn't do with a woman, just stop generally anybody. Koinim, I aser koinim, myself, koinim, levim, nenoli. I do not allow any koinim, levim to have any benefit from me. What connection do I have with what connection do I have with koinim? I give them truma or ma'aser to levim, and truma's ma'aser levim. Is yitlu al karchay. The law is the koinim can still come in and take it against your will. Now, what possible logic can there be in that? If I made a neder that can't have any enough for me, how can it take? Because we're going to have to say the truma is not mine. What the truma and the ma'aser, how does it belong to me? It belongs to the kohen. The only right that I have in the truma is it's called tevas hana. I have the right to decide who I will give this to. And what would a person give me? Let's say a grandfather who has a grandson, a kohen, whose daughter married a kohen, and he wants his grandson to receive the truma. How much would he pay me that I should give it to his grandson? Let's say the truma is worth $100. He might give me $5. Hey, do me a favor. Take your truma, give it to my grandson. So that's called tevas hana. But the Mishnah would seem to say that this person has no rights in the truma or the mice, and not even tevas hana, because tevas hana ain't a moment. That is not an integral value of the item itself. It's an outside thing, and therefore it's not considered moment. So therefore, because of that, the kohen can still come in and take the truma mice because they're not having any benefit from me. But then the Mishnah continues. Kohenim elu levim elu. If you nominate the kohenim, you nominate the levim, which one shouldn't come to you to receive any hana? Is nanim leader should have any benefit from me? Then yitlu achedim. They cannot take what others can. Now, why can't they take? You just established that I don't own the truma. I have nothing in the truma. Why can't they come in and take? And you must ask. This seems to contradict itself. The first part of the Mishnah, the first part of this part of the Mishnah, and the second part. Okay, says the Gemara. Let's first understand the first part of the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that the husband cannot in any way annul the neder the wife makes. She says I don't have any hana from anybody. The alma. It must be, there's only one reason why the husband cannot annul it. And the reason must be because when she says brias, she does not include her husband. She's not including her husband. Everybody else is included with another husband, so therefore she can still benefit from her husband. So why should he be able to annul it? Sorry? We're looking at it. In other words, this next part of the Mishnah, which talks about electric pay, is totally unrelated to the first part of the Mishnah. The reason is Because it would be related, the Mishnah should say, and the reason Mishum or B'pnei Ma or Mishum because the Mishnah would have linked the two together. You know why the husband cannot annul it? Because she has an alternative source. The Mishnah doesn't say that. And she can't. I separate them altogether. So the reason why the husband cannot annul the neder must be because he's not excluded. She can still have benefit from her husband. Okay. So now the Gemara says, so look at the next line. It says in the Mishnah, that she can have benefit from lekka chikrapeya. Now, if she's benefiting from a husband, then she has no right to get lekka chikrapeya, because who can get lekka chikrapeya? Only somebody's poor. But she has a source of provisions. So therefore, she has no right to get lekka chikrapeya. So the only way you can shut in the Mishnah that you can get lekka chikrapeya is because she can no longer get from the husband. Must be that she cannot eat from the husband, therefore that's why she's entitled to go to get lecture pay. What's going on here? You started the Mishnah saying the husband cannot annul it. The reason obviously is because the husband and her they still have a good relationship, but she can have no. And then you tell me no, she no longer can get from the husband, and therefore she's considered poor, and she can go and not get lecture pay. And that's why the husband cannot annul it. So what's going on here? What's the husband itself? I'll get to that soon. Very good. Says the Gemara, we have three answers in the Gemara. Amarula, answer number one. Comes along, Ula says, I'll tell you the truth, that the husband is not considered, is not included in her neder, and she definitely can continue to receive hana from her husband. No. So if she can receive another husband, what's this thing over here about lekka shirpeya? Like Yimi said, what happens if the husband himself is poor? So the husband is poor, she needs to go to other people, and she made a neder. So why isn't that considered in your nefesh? How's she going to live? Oh, and Yachal Hafim, the husband himself is poor, she still has another source. She can get Likish Paya. So this is the Mishnah saying, according to Ula, the husband definitely not included in Brias. She never intended to answer her husband. She's talking about everybody else. What happened? The husband is poor, so then she needs to turn to other people for help. No, she doesn't. There are other sources. For example, lekka chikrapeya. That's why the husband cannot annul it. That's answer number one. Rava says no. The husband is included in B'riyas. And when she asked the whole world, she also included her husband. No. So why can't the husband annul the neder? Matam kama. And he's giving a reason. Matam and Yachalaf. Why Taka can't the husband annul the neder? She needs to survive. Because she's able to get provisions from leket and chikha and peya. So even though the Mishnah doesn't say because of, that's what the Mishnah means. But the reason why the husband cannot annul it is because of that reason. Yeah. So the Chayda order to show him ask. We learned before that if there's only one source, like a store, if there's only one source, then if that's the only source, you can go ahead and you can be made for the neder. If she says, I don't have any benefit from that particular store, that's the store that gives you credit, then the husband can be made for. Well, if she asks everybody, why can't and he's like the store? He's no different than the store. This is where she gets all the food from. So why can't she? What do you call it? And look by the store. Why don't we go back to the store? Cases the store and say, look, you just said that you can annul. If she went to said the store that we receive all our provisions from, which gives them credit, I don't have any annul from. The husband can cancel, right? Why? Get to like you're going to pay her. You're telling me here, but she asked the whole world, the entire world, including the husband. Yet you say no, the husband cannot annul it because there's an alternative source that is like the pay. So how come in the previous case we had if there was a store they constantly buy from who gives the husband credit, and she said I don't have any enough from that store, we said that's it. You cannot the husband side could cancel because it's in your nefesh. What about like pay? So the Rishonim want to say there's a difference between summer and winter. That there's only electric pay is not year round. The Mishnah is talking about the season when there's no electric pay available, so therefore you can annul it. Here we're talking about in the season when there is electric pay available, and therefore you cannot annul. Simple answer. Answer number 3 of Nachman, he goes back to Ula. He says, I agree with Ula, the husband not included. So what in the world does electric pay have to do with anything? But this is what the Mishnah is saying. The husband himself eventually is going to, it's just telling you another halach, nothing with anything else. The husband cannot annul a neder simply because he can still provide for her. Then the Mishnah says, by the way, once they divorce, or according to others, once she remarries somebody else, now the husband is also included in the neder.
The original husband.
The original husband now is included because the neder still the neder was never taken off because the husband was never included in the neder. If the husband never included in the neder, he never annulled it. If he never annulled it, the neder is still intact. I will not have enough from any brias. Any brias means strange people, right? But now that the husband is divorced, he's now a stranger.
How could you marry someone else?
Why not?
I know.
So she has to. You're right.
He's another person.
So she has to be matter to that person. Or she does not marry. So according to, you're right. So the Rishonim hold that she doesn't have to marry anybody else is very glad. According to those who hold that the only time becomes a problem to marry somebody else. Interesting question. If she marries somebody else, she can't have any enough from the person.
Like the Etzim having kedushin with the person. So already I know.
No. She's talking about. No, that's not what you mean by no. No means food, taking payers and all that. So maybe then we'll say she'll use like the shikapaya to live with that person. Maybe, but regarding her, just like the first husband, they're no longer the first husband. Now was in this gasha, they got divorced. So now she can't live from anybody. She can have enough electric shikapaya, and the husband, even she cannot get any hana from the original husband because the neder now kicks in for him as well.
But you have the same problem. She can only have like a chicken pay in the harvest season. What's she going to do the rest of the year?
It's her problem. She'll have to work it out. She's a single woman.
She's got to be matching neder.
Eventually, she'll wake up. Says the Gemara, Ace Rav Nachman. So Rav asked Nachman a question. You, Rav Nachman, said, "What? So you want to tell me that the husband is not included in B'riyah, and therefore Kozman, they're married. He doesn't have to annul the neder. Let me ask you a question. What Tanan we learned the Tula Ani Mina Yehudi. We already had this before. If she says, I don't want to have any relations with any yid, is Yafer Chelka. We say the husband, he annuls only his relationship to her, and they can have relations, but nevertheless, she's forbidden to the rest of the Yidden. Now we said over there for the husband, we had a question whether tashmish is considered inu nefesh or whether tashmish is considered beino the beino. We didn't resolve it. But what do we see from here? When she says netul ani mina Yehudim, the husband has the right to annul it, but he has to annul it. That means he's included in Yehudim. You just said when a woman says that I don't want that kainim ani shenena librius, the husband you're telling me is not included. It doesn't have to bother annulling the neder because it doesn't affect him. And then it says another in the Mishnah later on says netul ani mina Yehudim. The husband has to be made for the neder, otherwise he can't have relations with her. But you just said that the husband she never intended to include a husband. So if you can tell me that the husband is not included, so no, this is the most question. There's a big there's a different gist, but we don't like the most straight. So it's very simple. She says, I don't want to have any tashmish, right? If she says I don't want to have any tashmish, then it cannot be talking about. So who's she talking about? All the other people in the world are anywhere else. So therefore, she could only be talking about her husband. And if it's only talking about, therefore, she only meant her husband. So if it's only meant her husband, it's a neder in the nefesh. If it's neder in the nefesh, not only that it's it's talking about all kinds of issues, including fruits and vegetables. It doesn't say what. When we remove from all the yidden, so l'chayda is not just tashmish; she doesn't have any food. So l'chayda and including tashmish. So tashmish cannot be talking about for them the people because anyway she's a married woman. So what you making a neder for? Obviously she's talking about her husband, and she's saying I don't have anything to do, including fruits and things. If it's fruits and things, then it's needed in nefesh. If it's needed in nefesh, then yafal alaylam. It should be the whole neder should be bottled forevermore. So therefore, later on in life, she should be mutter to other people if they get divorced or something else. When answers no, since she is saying when she says Yehudim, she is talking about. She's not talking about the rest of the world. She must be talking about tashmish. And now you're right. Normally, mina Yehudim or mina B'riyah does not include the husband. But over here, it must include the husband. You know how we know it includes the husband? Because since she's talking about tashmish as well, and tashmish, you can only be talking about your husband, because I would say everybody else is forbidden to you because you're married, a married woman. So when you make a neder, I don't want to have any, any intimate. Natula also does not mean fruits. It's kind of strange languages. Natula means I want to be removed, no association at all. That means something like tashmish, the relations. So therefore, and she's making an issue on herself, relations. So who could she be making an issue on relations? She could only be talking about her husband. And therefore, in this case, we have no choice but to say when she said Mina Yehudim, she must have meant her husband. In our Mishnah, when she says fruits, just the husband, because she's talking about tashmish, it can only be a husband. That's why the husband. Sorry, and everyone else, sure. Mina Yehudim is everybody, but there's no. So, but that's post. If my husband passes away, but what are you asking right now? You're asking your husband, and therefore in that case you have no blade but to say you're asking your husband, and therefore the husband has to be made for it. But in our Mishnah, where you're talking about food that they should, if I take anything from them, that should become us bahana. That the husband's not included. Normally your husband's not included. Here we have no blade but to say your husband. Anyway, then you say she can have a benefit from lekah and shikhapeya. Now, like Tony, it doesn't mention the Meiser Ani. It doesn't mention. Maybe we'll stop here because there's a lot of lumbus here. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay, we're up to the pay dollar and all near the bottom. Tomorrow's Gemara.